Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Africam show. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and I'll be with you for the next 45 minutes. And of course, we are starting at Tembe Elephant Park on the east coast of South Africa. And my, oh my, look at that light. And of course, the elephants and their park will just gathering around this waterhole. If this is your first time joining the Africam show, well, welcome. It is live and interactive, and you can chat to me. So I'm looking forward to hearing all of your questions. And if you've got any comments, well, those are also fine too. But we'll quickly just jump into some hellos. It seems as though the regulars are, of course, here. We've got Zygote. Namaste to you, Zygote. And then we've got W. Bouchard. You say good morning from Toronto, Canada. And then we've got Kauru. Hello, Kauru. You've got milk again. Sorry about that. I actually don't have anything to drink at the moment. Probably get some water of some kind. What do I mean? Tap water versus bottled water? I don't even know what I'm talking about. But anyways, just regular old water. And then Bridget McKinney, hello to you too. It's great to hear from you. And then we've got Jean Gale, good morning, and thank you. Good morning, and it's a pleasure. And then Zygote, you said that you've just had cucumber sprinkled with salt and pepper. That's a lovely sneaky snack. And Dear NC, of course, it's great to have you on board again. And you are here with your coffee. Miraculously, a bottle of water has just been popped into my hand. It's amazing. You say these things out loud. Oh, how I wish the dishes were washed. But the fairy doesn't seem to be doing that. But anyways, of course, this is a wildlife show. So we're here to talk about all things wildlife. And it is, of course, just part of the tradition, in case you're wondering, why is Taylor talking about what people... I say we, I mean, I'm speaking on behalf of Trishala, to Ali, to Kelly, to Ben, to anybody else that has the opportunity to feature on the Africam shows. But we love what you're eating and, of course, what you're drinking. And then, of course, Mr. HUAE87, hello. You said you've had red tea and cake. Ooh, what type of red tea? Like hibiscus tea? Or is it something else, like rooibos tea that we get here? And so you can get it all over the world. But it's looking quite dry at Tembe, which is surprising. The last couple of times I've seen it, the grass has been still quite tall and fairly green. But that just goes to show you the last time I visited Tembe Elephant Park. But it's looking great. It holds lots of water. And it's a pity that the elephant now is disappearing down that worn path away from the water's edge. Thirst has been quenched. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head across to my absolute favorite Africam camera in Kenya. Yay! So this is the old Donyo camera. I am itching to make my way to this wonderful wilderness area, just because of all the life that sort of lingers around the water's edge. And again, I can't believe it. Look how dry everything has got. I swear. Actually, I don't know when I was last hosting one of these shows. I feel like maybe it was a little while ago, but still pretty interesting just to see how. Like just a weeks ago, this was so light and long, and there wasn't much hanging around the water's edge because there was water everywhere. As you know, Kenya's been quite wet over the last couple of months. Actually, no, not even the last couple of months, since late last year. But the zebras are back, the yellow baboons are there, and of course the eland, the antelope in Africa, and the impala, which are oh so impressive in East Africa. Tris Vissop, you've just jumped on board. You said hello, everybody, and you said it feels good to be here with me. Right back at you. And then Casper's third ghost. He said, good day, Taylor, all the way from steamy Wisconsin, with ice, black tea, with lemon and fresh ginger. That sounds way too healthy for my liking. Oh, I'm just teasing. That actually does sound quite nice and rather refreshing. And then, of course, Catherine. Hi, Catherine. And you've said also hello, Tucker, who is sulking outside. That's my dog. And you finally made it after enjoying the show with pistachio ice cream. And that is the last time we'll be speaking to Catherine. The elephant agreed, because I've been trying pistachio ice cream for I don't even know how long now, but in Hoedspruit, where I live, it's you probably got better chance of finding a diamond in your back garden than pistachio ice cream. No, I'm just teasing, of course. But there we go. A little bit of interaction around the what we typically see. I'm always very excited for winter months and dry season, and this water hole does dry up quite quickly. Not because it runs out of water, because of course it's pumped, but the amount of animals that just consistently drink from this puddle of water, because that's actually what it is, all day long. It just, the water level drops quite a bit, and you can see it's quite evident. And now we've got a standoff between the elephants. Not the elephants, Shayla, there's just one there. But there are many. The elephant sort of tosses his trunk in the direction of the zebras. They don't seem too perturbed, though. I wonder if they've got wind, though, of the rather boisterous elephant. Quite a big tusker. I'm actually not sure if he's been identified or not. And you all know what I'm talking about. Elephant bull that has chased away, and well, not even chased away, he killed a giraffe, which is quite an interesting thing to see. I mean, we know animals can be sources, but when that entire incident happened, it was bizarre because it's not like there was a shortage of water. And wait, there go the zebras, of course, kicking and bucking and bronking as they always do. They're the grumpiest around in the waterhole. When I was in Botswana a couple of months ago, actually, Catherine was with me. We had a great time. We sat and we watched very much a scene, obviously in a different country though. And zebras really do dominate around the waterhole. If they're in great numbers, then you are in for a spectacular show, that's for sure. This elephant is now throwing his weight around, and I think the zebras have got the picture that they might have to come back later. No, there's still one coming in, and if these zebras look a bit strange, it's because they're gravy zebra. No, why am I saying gravy zebras? Oh my goodness. Why did I say gravies? They're clearly not gravy zebra. For those of you that are wondering what a gravy zebra is, it's the one with the lots, they almost look like a barcode. They've got very straight, like vertical stripes very closely together. I meant to say Grant's zebra. So just a subspecies of the plain zebra. Oh, they got yellow baboon, but no shadow stripe. So that's why they look so clean. And so quiet, except for the swishing of the tail of the zebras, the snorting, and then zebras don't really walk particularly quietly. They sort of trot around, so you can hear them stepping. It's not taking much to get the zebras to charge away. I think the elephant gave them a bit of a scare in the beginning. And that's, yeah, wow. Isn't that a beautiful sound? I think that was that elephant sort of breathing through his trunk. I don't know if he was inhaling or exhaling. It sounded a bit more like exhaling. And because he had his trunk flat on the surface, it's making quite an interesting noise. Yeah, the zebras are starting to line up again. And you'll see the zebras fight more amongst one another than they do with other animals. You'll start to see, even though they're not quite at the water's edge, watch how irritated they get. You see their ears go back. They're trying to squeeze into a gap. There. Oh, that was actually quite pleasant. There we go. I thought that mare, you can see her, she's not particularly happy. The way she kind of stretches her head down quite low, ears back, flat and ready to kick it at the end. The elephant is just toying with them. But to be fair, if I was effect over a group of animals, I'd probably also stand there and tower over everybody and just sort of throw my weight around to feel a little bit better about myself. But of course, that doesn't happen in the real world. There's also loads of birds that just landed, but I have absolutely no idea what they were. kind of moving together. What are they? They're not, surely they're not doves. Maybe they are doves. No, but they're hopping. Anyone know what birds those are? They kind of landed just, they're behind the zebras that are drinking. There's lots of them. Let's see if they're going to fly. Oh, goodness, is something running at the back to a baboon? I'm trying to see what those things are. Are they babblers? I wonder if it's the babbler species that are there. Whoops. I'm trying to think what we saw here the other day. Not the other day. Can't remember, but a little while ago. I don't even have that notebook where I always keep a bird list of what's going on here. And then Tris, this up, you said, do I ever think that the Nkoro pan would dry up? You've never seen the water so low since you started watching. Maybe it's something we can go and have a look at some point in the show. I haven't, the last time I saw that waterhole, to be quite honest, was, what is it, about 6 weeks ago, maybe 7 weeks ago, when I was at, I wasn't at Nkoro, but I was in the Northern Sabi Sands, and the water level was still all right. There's obviously, it's a big shortage of water all Southern Africa at the moment, and were they doves? Sorry, I can't get over it. No, they're flying too nicely, but that wing flap like that sounded just, maybe they were doves at all. I have no idea. I'm trying to think if they even pump water into the dam itself. I'm sure they must. I'm just trying to think. Well, they do on that one corner, is it the left-hand side one? I wonder if something has maybe happened to the pump and that's why there's no water going into it. But there is a couple of other birds there. They are those, what are they? They're babblers. I've forgotten what babblers they are. Oh, there we go. That's a much better view. Look like wattled starlings. And there's all sorts of things around there. And then ring-necked doves too. Aha. Yeah, we had some interesting, maybe looks like they also, there's quite a few female wattled starlings there. And I don't know if the males are in, they shouldn't be in their breeding plumage at this time of the year. But anyways, oh, there we go. And I see Zygote, you said that they were also wattled starlings. Thank you very much for that. I was like confused. I was like, what are these pale birds hopping around? And then I could hear the flapping of the wings of the doves, which is unmistakable. Yeah, all sorts of things going on there. And then the earland coming in. You can see the oxpecker is dodging its tail, so not only does that tail keep the insects at bay, but you wouldn't want to be swatted by that if you were the size of the bird. I think you'd go flying. I'm so surprised that the zebras actually haven't come back on. Oh, there we go. As I mentioned that, one picks up at the pace. It always takes zebras forever to come down and have a drink, I suppose, especially if there's an elephant that's on the grumpy side chasing them away. But he seems to have calmed down. Doesn't mind the eland so much. But the baboons are coming back into play. He's also, I don't know if you noticed when he turned his head, he's secreting liquid from his temporal glands, so those glands just behind his eye. And the temporal glands look like they're a little bit on the swollen side. I can't really see any dribbling or any staining between his back legs. So we might not be in must. Maybe he was in must and is coming out of it, or he's going it. What 3 options that it could be, but you can see he's completely relaxed. The fact that he's crossed his leg like that suggests, he's really having a good time. Not for the zebras though, but there's just so many of them, and of course they can't one single line and drink. Complete chaos. I suppose that's why the elephant maybe enjoys the presence of the eland rather than all those crazy zebra. Okay, we're going to move away from Old Onyo just for now because we can always come back. There's always lots happening here, but I would love to head back to the Eastern Cape and check out Founders Dam at Shamwari Game Reserve. Look at that beautiful black-headed heron. Now, the reason why I wanted to come back here is because this is the first time I've had the opportunity to visit Founders Waterhole on the Africam show. And for those of you that know me will know that I actually hail from the Eastern Cape. And I have spent a considerable amount of time in Shamwari, on Amakhala, on Giraffe. Obviously, that's where I pretty much grew up. Dare I say, I also worked there with my first guiding job and a couple of reserves in the area too. But it's just so different to the Lowveld. And we don't get to see black-headed herons very often up in the Lowveld, but this heron species is one that we see everywhere around the water's edge, as we're seeing now, but especially in the grasslands in the Eastern Cape, catching snakes and catching mice. But that's not on the agenda right now, unless an opportunity were to present itself. Will probably be getting quite cold. Winters are never fun in the Eastern Cape. We complain about the Lowveld winters being cold, but the coldest I have ever been in my entire life safari was at, Kariga Game Reserve is maybe just 30 minutes drive from here, kind of in a northeasterly direction. So, yeah, I'm going to go with heron. That's a good idea, catching the afternoon light. You're in for a very, very cold evening. You can see how this heron has even pulled its neck right back in. Just trying to maintain as much warmth as possible. Even though it's sitting there, though, still having a little look around. You never know when you might miss a meal. I can't, though, for the life of me, remember Founders Dam. But I was also quite young when I spent any time down in Eastern Cape and at Shamwari. So I don't remember it as well as the other reserves. And then Kirstis just said, because it's right at the lodge. And of course, there is a camp called Founders Camp, and it's one that I haven't stayed at. So that might actually be the case, is because I have not been right in front of this lodge before. Also hear the pied crows that were calling in the background. Just before we went live, there were quite a few of them hanging. Doing a little pan across. If there's anything else. What I do love is you get a little glimpse of the undulating hills in this area of the Eastern Cape. And a very long time ago, you probably found that this little ridge that we can see in the distance would have been covered with pineapples, or maybe even chicory, which is, I suppose, a substitute of coffee, if you will. And it's so interesting to see these reserves and just how far they have come from the thicket biome, some of the densest vegetation I have ever seen, to then being hacked away and big pineapple fields and chicory fields being created, to now all the natural vegetation being restored and introducing all of the wildlife that once lived in this place. Casper's third go, she said, wow, this black heron is really beautiful. It is. They're amazing to see. They're, in fact, one of my favorite heron species. Although, you know me, I enjoy everything. And every time anyone asks me what my favorite bird is, I feel like it's always a different story. Oop, there we go. Sorry, we just had some issues there. But they're so entertaining. But again, it's time now, 20 20 past 4 in the afternoon. The sun's not going to be up for too much longer, or in the next hour, it's going to start setting behind the horizon, and it'll be quite a chilly experience. So I'd definitely be slowing down on what I'm doing and start looking for a perch to sleep. But this heron probably has a perch that it uses every single night. And then, Mindy, you've said that you love this camera and you think that the backdrop is absolutely stunning. I completely agree. If you ever decide to go on a safari, I highly recommend the Eastern Cape for many different reasons. But more on the budget-friendly side. It's not quite the low felt when it comes to game viewing, but something that you will never get in the low felt that you get in the Eastern Cape is the views. It is so beautiful, and the valleys with yellow woods and hidden water and arena trogons that fall out of trees. It's so different. So, I mean, even just the scene that we're looking at now at Shamwari, you could sit here and you could go to another part of the reserve and it would feel like you're in a completely different world. That's what's so special about this area. That's the perfect date. If I was a heron, I'd probably roost at night. So don't take my word for it, but it's a nice place to roost. But we're not really having too much luck with any other animals coming down to have a drink. Very fine that a lot of them have already started settling in for the evening. Okay, we're going to head somewhere else, and I'm going to let Kirst surprise us and decide where we're going to go next. Mm-hmm. What does it feel in Namibia all of a sudden? I think we are. I think this is Ngamu, if I'm not mistaken. A lonely giraffe just munching away in a little stream. Are you going to actually have a drink? It looks like you're licking your lips, but I'm not sure if it's had a drink already or if it's working, or if she's working her way up to having one. She looks rather pregnant, though. Look at that big bulging belly. She's not in a hurry to do anything. It's kind of stressing me out a little bit. Make a decision. Drink. Just going to lick my lips. Let's see if she's going to actually stretch on down. It's when we all have an appreciation for the way that giraffe are able to maneuver when they drink water. Now add pregnancy to it. Well, I was having a chuckle the other day. There was a what is the other version of when you have a kitty? Braai. We call it in South Africa. I think when, the men just before the wives are about to give birth, they all go and have one last opskop, as we would say in South Africa, like a little party. And I was having such a chuckle watching. There were two gentlemen that had bags of flour, like flour, not actual flowers, but the powdered form. Wheat, I suppose, ground wheat. For a moment, I was like, oh my gosh, what's flour made of? And watching them try and bend down and play paddle was rather entertaining. So I feel you, giraffe. Being able to do that is rather impressive. And then, Zygote, you said that you don't think that you've ever seen an arena trogon except for that one time in Kenya when you were with me in the Masai Mara. My goodness, I think I chased an arena trogons for I don't even know how long before I got to show you one, as well as the emerald cuckoo. That was the other one I want to show you, which was really big. Eastern Cape is a great place. You just got to make sure you go to areas where there is still some presence of the indigenous forests. Then you'll be all sorted. But I'm pretty sure at Chamwari you'd be able to see them. But you won't find them out in the open, though. Not their favorite thing to do. Except I did see one in the Lower Zambezi National Park one day and almost had a heart attack. It wasn't even in the densation, but I suppose it's have wings and they fly and have to travel distances too. So it just stopped at a random point. We all almost had a heart attack. That was in Zambia, but just also again in an area where I was like, this doesn't look like the right habitat. But anyways, and then uh, Kaori, you've said, are sables ruminants like cows and giraffe? Because you noticed one that was chewing quite slowly, and you weren't sure. You said it was also at Founders Lodge. Yes. There are ruminants. Absolutely. All the antelope are. So it's quite possible that you would have seen them, maybe just not doing it at the pace of other animals. Perhaps maybe a sore jaw. Who knows? Hey, girl. I'd love to know how near she is to giving birth. It'd be great if she could just turn around so we could really see how round she is. But just that belly underneath, my goodness. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that's a big struggle. Gosh, she's gulping down huge amounts of water. It's so beautiful to watch. I really have been enjoying these cameras so much. It's so lovely to be able to just sit and watch wildlife without having to disturb them in any way possible. Obviously, animals have got used to us being around there, but there's just something about watching animals with, being able to talk as loud as you can and they can't even hear you. I mean, of course, she's just keeping out for everything else, but I love it so much. But girl, I think we're gonna love and leave you and back to the baboons at hold on. Oh, there they go. Finally, the Elfdorf. I'm sure there'll be another one that comes on through in no time, though. But the baboons are always quite entertaining around the water's edge. But like I said, these are the yellow baboons, appropriately named. You might hear in the distance also, it sounds like a bit of lodge construction. And then, of course, a zebra carrying the whole of East Africa's oxpecker population on it. Not quite, but there was quite a bit. And then look at the tiny little baboon that's just on the right-hand side. Isn't that absolutely precious? Sticking quite close to mom. Most of the troop have already moved on in and probably moved away from the water's edge now. Just the last few going in to have a quick drink. Casper's third ghost, you very much stuck on the Eastern Cape and Founders, and you said that you could get lost in the colors forever. I'm so happy to hear that. I have a special place in my heart for the Eastern Cape. It's super underrated. If you love smaller things like birds and plants, it's such an interesting area to go and explore. I appreciate it more and more when I head back. I mean, of course, who doesn't want to be surrounded by wildlife all the time? Please come and say hello to the camera. No, it just ran on past. Come back here. It's always hysterical when the monkeys come around and they grab hold on the camera, look into them, probably saying, I didn't sign a release form. Can I speak to your lawyer? Or one baboon charging over and then flopping to the ground. Like you were hoping that you might end up in a bit of a match. That didn't work out so well for you. Now you just got a dusty coat. And one of the male baboons on the left. sure if he's one of the more dominant individuals. Hello, boy. Look quite relaxed, yes. Also sunning himself. Very fluffy coats, but it does get quite chilly in that area. It always just makes me giggle. They're just so human-like. The way their mannerisms. It's so entertaining. You can sit and watch them all day long. However, is one of the individuals that are part of the oligarchy, so the super group of males that are typically in charge of the groups of vervet monkeys. That's not a vervet monkey. That's a yellow baboon. They'll just be making sure that everything's all right. And I'm sure that there are others that are scattered about, also just keeping a close eye on the troop. It sounds like one of them might be climbing the hide. I guess sort of banging every now and then. Yeah, they're probably bounding up and down and around on it. Mindy, you've said that you love learning from these cameras and us, the guides. I learn lots from these cameras. It's way better than just reading from a book. Oh, you better run away, little monkey, you're a bit small. Yeah, it is. It's so good. I mean, I still love reading, of course. I mean, I read books, but I find myself reading research papers and scientific magazine articles more than anything these days. I mean, I love a book, especially my reference books or field guides. Sorry, I should probably call them. They're great. Look at the little ones. They're going to get into trouble now because typical, they're all getting closer and closer to this male that's kind of just scanning his surroundings. It's almost like they want to run past and touch him. But you don't want to upset the big boss because you're going to get into big trouble. And then we all know what happens. They all run, they get chased, they scream, they cry. Big stories. You can see their shadows around on top. A bit scratchy. Can only imagine the amount of parasites that baboons have on them and all these other animals. Hello, Irland. Oh gosh, they're so stunning. Also, such an underrated animal to see. Seeing them in big groups together, or when they start to gather around the waterhole with all the other species, it really puts into perspective how large they are. I'm surprised when I drive past a kudu and I'm just in my normal vehicle how tall they are. That's a big eland. You a bull? No. Going crazy. Look at me not being able to tell the difference all of a sudden. Come on, come closer. Get in. Have a drink. Nothing to fear here. And you've said which baboons ever breed together? So probably not, and the reason for it is because they don't really occur in the same area of one another. So if that kind of makes sense. So again, it's a group of individuals that are, their populations are separate. So I'm just trying to think. I mean, in South Luangwa, even in Zambia, there's yellow baboons, then there's chakma baboons and lower Zambezi. So they're kind of all ability. I don't know how closely related they are in terms of genetics, if they would be able to produce, viable offspring. I'm sure they would. But again, a lot of the time that the species are just separated, that they probably won't even meet. But if I'm not mistaken, I think are subspecies of the chacma, but I must just double check that. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's its own thing. I need to do some reading about baboons again. It's the funniest thing in the whole wide world. One moment, you know absolutely everything about all the baboons because that's all you're talking about. And if you ask me since when I last spoke about a baboons, it's been a while. Definitely need to brush up on that. So I'll have to just double check again. But if it's to help me on the internet quickly, you're welcome to. I'm actually trying to think when I last saw yellow baboons. It's been a very long time. I can't even remember. Okay, well, thank you, Elan, for staring down into the camera. And baboons, you've all moved off now. Let's head to the Timbavati and check out King's Camp and what animals are at the waterhole. Oh, well, that's an easy one to identify. That, everybody, is an African buffalo or a Cape buffalo. And the large, this is a big bull. Let's come down to have a drink. And has graciously decided to stop right at the camera. That's an epic low angle. No, that's nice. That's the greenest, lush grass this time of the year. Looks like there's some reeds just around there. A lot of them have been pushed over, but you can see that flush of bright green. I think even a mouthful of that do him the world of good. And not rushing away from the water's edge, just taking his time, which I think is quite wise. There's a few more buffalo moving about. There must be a breeding herd that's around. Maybe they've already had a drink. Let's see, look at the pure muscle on his neck and on his shoulders. And you can also see how his hips are starting to stick out quite a bit. He hasn't lost too much condition, but the hair on his body is thin, but that comes with age. I don't need to tell anyone that. And it looks like he might have lost a hair on the tip of his tail. Yeah, just with a couple of hands. It looks like a little bit of a stump. Yes, I'm talking about you. Very tattered ears. I keep wanting to zoom in or pick up my binoculars. It's a really hard habit to get out of when you've been in the bush for a long time automatically. And it doesn't matter where you are and how inappropriate it may seem. As a safari guide, or if you're a bird or somebody that uses binoculars, you will want to pick them up immediately so that you can get a closer look. What I can tell you is not to do that in public, like in a shopping center or something like that. We won't be very popular. No. Are you going to go over and join everyone else? You're just going to enjoy some alone time. I'm a bit like this buffalo. Sometimes I like to be with groups of people, and then other times I'm just happy to be on the outskirts by myself. There we go. Off you go with your funny tail. Looks like it was damaged at some point. It's a pity. No, not the best fly squatter. Gosh, I could have only imagined what it must have looked like with all of them in the water. Though it wasn't too hot today in this area. I say this, it was actually quite chilly this morning, in the last couple of mornings. So maybe the buffalo didn't go all the way in. Just wet their hooves. And then, of course, everything's gone. Isn't that amazing? A whole bunch of animals here. And now they're all gone. You can see them just in the background, but they've moved away now. Okay, let's go and check out. I want to go back at Old Donyo because I just really love watching them. Let's do that. Wow, look there, they're chasing each other. This is why baboons are some of the best animals to sit and watch. You know, if you have the if they don't run away from you, spend a bit of time. Because here we go, we've got two individuals that are pushing and shoving one another, wrestling. You see, one's clearly much younger than the other. But seeing them interact is always just so special. And it's a game of chase and throw each other down to the ground. One is looking for a lot of trouble. But it's so important for the individuals to engage with one another like this. Not only for these youngsters, but is it important to understand the hierarchy within the troop, but also just developing very important social cues. Oh, so lovely to hear. I thought there would have been a bunch more birds chirping. Might be a bit late in the afternoon for that though. But just hear the oxpeckers, the doves flying. These are some of the doves don't even run away when the baboons come charging past. They're obviously so used to it. There we go. Look at that boy on the right. That's a big individual. Almost looks like he's got a huge mane. And then just picking down in the ground. Maybe the odd seed. Okay, so here it is. So here come the main individuals, the main males of the troop. Kind of ushering everybody back where they need to go. Some of them have had a drink already. And the others are coming through. Now you can clearly see the difference between the dominant males and the individuals that dare I call the chance takers, the troublemakers, kind of younger baboons that are not quite at that level just yet. And just like that, everybody's gone. Great place, though, to have a nibble before bed. Lots of dung to pick between. We're having a whole bunch of insects and things. We've got the last two. Come on, girl. That's a female that is just walking off to the left. She looks like she actually might be an estrus. Very swollen towards her nether regions. And I just love how animals can go in. I suppose it's the same with us as people. And these males, they don't have to say anything, but there's an understanding between the whole troop. This is fabulous. I could sit and watch the baboons all day long. I used to do that in Zambia every day. Spend hours and hours with them. Just one baboon on the right-hand side. Do you have something stuck between your teeth? It looks like it. Using its nail to try and dislodge something. Very clever. Looks quite familiar. Anyways, everybody, that's gone far too quickly, and I'm so glad all the animals came out and about. And I hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for all of yours and your comments. For those in the Northern Hemisphere, have a wonderful day. And for the rest of you that are in the Southern Hemisphere, well, you're probably getting ready to go to bed. But hopefully I'll see you all sooner. In fact, I'll see you on Thursday for the Wild Moments show. Bye-bye.